Thank you so much for joining us today on the SandStorm Meetup. Hi, I'm halfd0rk. I'm your teacher for today. We're going to be looking at our Ragnarok game jam entry. This is going to be the last week we get to work on it, as it is due Sunday. So I won't be able to touch on, the process until next week, but I'll be able to walk you through the final steps the next following Monday. So today, I wanted to walk you through the process of making an asset in Voxedit, exporting it to the marketplace, and getting it prepared to be used in the Game Maker. So after we finish this asset, so what I'm making is a cocoon, a human-sized cocoon, as you can see on screen, and we're going to essentially put a character that spawns once we destroy it. So we're going to be saving, let's just say, a princess or prince, a damsel in distress, if you will. And so we're going to, as people start to trickle in, this is a good way to get us started. And so I want to invite you all to ask questions. If there's any questions you have related to making a game, making an entry for the game jam, making Voxedit assets, our community is more than willing and welcome to answer whatever you have to throw at us. My name's halfd0rk. I've won 3 game jams, earning myself first place. I've participated in 7 so far, but I want to share that knowledge with the community. So here we are. And Sandstorm has been so gracious to offer me this platform to help teach and inform you all. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into Voxedit. Please, if you have questions, do throw them my way, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So what I'm working on here is a cocoon. We're going to make it really simple at first. This isn't meant to be like super complicated, at least, to walk through the motions of making something. So this cocoon, I made an extra node, but we're just going to work on this one asset in particular. So hitting the pen tool, we're able to take a look at our cocoon, and we're going to chisel out like a round shape out of it. So what I can do is I can use the mirror options here, and I can make pretty much a symmetrical kind of oval that could hide a character inside of it. One thing I did want to do before I continued was add an extra couple layers. So we'll touch the top here. And now I'm going to start chiseling away. So we're going for an oval shape. So we'll see how difficult that'll be. We can see I actually have a very large space to work with. So one little cheat I've been doing is I'll reduce the size. So we'll actually go to like 16th size here. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove as much as I can. I do notice now that I'm working in this that we don't have a symmetrical full grid of voxels. So what I can do is I can add a couple lines just to make us like a literal symmetrical shape that I can then splice. So for example, we have 3 voxels this way and 2 voxels that way. So what I can do is I can just add one more face here, one face there. And so now when I have everything mirrored, it's going to be symmetrical. So let's keep cutting away. We'll shift to the eraser tool here. And so because it's an oval, we're going to do like a couple layers at a time until we get the desired shape we want. We'll make this one even smaller on the top. So again, our objective here is to make it seem like there's, a person trapped inside. And I'll be the first one to say that Voxedit is not my strong suit. I think I'm more of a game maker. And so that goes in tandem with like, hey, there are people out there that will do the things you don't want to do. So find what your skill set is. And I encourage you to, team up with people. Game jams in particular are a great way to get involved with the community. I do not regret teaming up with anyone, in this community. Everyone has been so welcoming and cooperative. Everybody wants to make cool things. Like, it's not difficult. So I wanted like a shape here that was uniform. So this is going to be our, placeholder, if you will. And now I'm going to make like some ridges around it, just so it gives it a little bit more depth. Before I do that, I should turn back my mirror so we can see that it's painting more than just the side I'm working on. So again, this is just kind of like a placeholder is the best way to describe it. But welcome in, everybody. I see a couple people poking their heads in. DJs here, VVox, NVG, how are you? OG Shakespeare, Pineapple Poodle Pen, how are you? So we can see here that I have this super small cocoon. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. This will be cocoon 2. With cocoon 2, I'm going to double, triple the size. So we can see it's already a little bit larger than I would like. I might want to shrink the x-axis a little bit more. So what I'll try to do, make it feel more like a cylinder, like a person's trapped inside. We can even see the ghost of my little avatar here. So what I'll do is I'll just take the rectangle tool with the eraser and just trim off a couple edges. Then we'll probably paint this section a little bit more. Again, we'll want to turn on the mirroring so I don't have to do too much work. And now that I have this shape, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, obviously it's not done. This is a work in progress. And of course, now that I have it, I can put it in the Game Maker. And that's when we can get involved with adding logic to it, and behaviors and components. So the last thing I'll do is I'll remove the avatar here. So my essentially a template that I highly recommend if you start working in the Voxedit and Game Maker space, that you make yourself a template that you can import into all of your assets. So I saw my one face here needed to be repaired. So what I can do is I can select the face tool and I can boost these sections here using this color. And that way we can fill this empty space, and we can even see, the missing voxels and fill those in. And we'll save it. And now I'm just going to export this and we'll get started on Game Maker side. Today, we're going to be working on quests. So what I want to do is create kind of like a save the princess, like damsel in distress type of quest. We'll also, just hoping we have time, which we will, we'll also do like a collect quest and a kill quest. So simple stuff, but it can seem complicated and daunting the very first time you start. So we want to walk through these kind of like basics as best as we can. I hope everybody's having a nice day. Welcome in. Don't forget, if you have questions, the Discord is a great place to ask, the SandStorm Meetup Discord. So we'll export to Marketplace. I'll go ahead and just pick a thumbnail, whatever looks best. It doesn't matter, because in-game, it's always going to do the same thing. A couple things to note as it's loading up my asset on the Marketplace is you do want to make sure your asset is on the 0,0. So we can see by default it was, but let's just say, as an example, my cocoon was off center for whatever reason. Perhaps I was moving assets around. On the bottom left side of the screen, which I will hide my camera so you can see, there is a change pivot. And so if you ever see your asset off center, so we can see my asset by default was off center there. That's the button you're looking for, the pivot point. And you'll want to do set to center and then set to floor. That's in general, set to center, set to floor. That order allows you to put the asset directly on top of the 0, which is, above ground. So that's what you're looking for. Great. So now that we have that set up, this window pops up when we do the export to marketplace feature. We're going to go ahead and make a new asset. This is going to be our cocoon large. Well, it's not a cocoon, more so a web. because we're gonna have it next to spiders. So I think cocoon would have been the wrong word. So webbed victim. So that we're going to put something inside of it. So right now it's a webbed victim. And of course, it looks really basic, but again, we're focusing more on the game maker side of things. And I just wanted to walk through the process of uploading an asset and how simple it can be. So we'll do nature horror. And we pick a theme, so that allows us to continue and save it. Catalysts are important only if you're trying to give it stats. So for example, if you want it to have a lot of health, you'll give it more defense stats. And the more stats you give it, so common, rare, epic, and legendary, that depends on its rarity. So in general, this would be for when you're ready to mint your assets and sell them on the marketplace, which unfortunately is not available right now. But if in your game, let's just say you made a spider, but it's like the ultimate spider, it's the biggest spider you've ever made, and it's the final boss in your game, it's the end of the quest. Well, in that case, you'll probably want a legendary, and you'll want it to have a lot of health, and maybe it's got like an extra bite, so it'll maybe 3 attacks, it'll kill a player. That's when you'd want to use a legendary catalyst. But if it's just like a basic cocoon or web in this case, we'll just give it a little extra defense, so the player has to hit it a few times. On average, a player without a weapon would probably have to hit it like 10 times, but with a weapon that'll probably take 5. And so that feels adequate to releasing, a victim in a web. So we'll go ahead and save as a draft. And I saw a couple errors there, but I'm going to ignore them. And so now that we have our asset imported onto our marketplace, and so this is in my inventory for my account, we can go now to the Sandbox Maker. And I do need to save and re-enter it. We'll go ahead and boot that up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. We're covering mostly quests today, so I wanted to demonstrate how you could have an asset that you're freeing a character. So essentially, I'm destroying an asset, and that would cause the character to be released, and thus the quest to be finished. So that's going to be the first thing we work on today. Hey, what's up, Roxy? So I know a lot of the community is doing speed runs, so I wish you all luck in your speed runs and getting on those leaderboards. For me personally, I am a game maker, so that's my specialty. So if you have any questions about, making a game or how maybe a mechanic works, it's a good place to ask. And so I'm going to move my platform over here, and we're going to place, our cocoon inside this little cave I made. We also have a chest, so we're going to set up a very simple chest. We'll move our spider out of the way so he doesn't bite us. So for our first quest, let's go ahead and set up some very simple quest mechanics. So I'm going to start from scratch here. So the webbed princess. Sure, why not? We'll go for the cliche stuff. A princess was taken captive by spiders. And you rescue her? Say, will you rescue her? Of course we can. But will you? You could be, an evil character. You'd be like, nah, princess is on her own. She should have leveled up a few times. But we'll have the quest auto unlock. This can be altered if, let's say, for example, I wanted to defeat the wolves first. I could change it to where the wolves quest had to be completed first. But for now, we'll have it automatically unlock. And instead, we're going to have it auto unlocked, but we have to talk to, let's say, the king first. So we'll do king.1. So we're going to set up a very simple, like, hey, we're talking to the king. And we agree to help the king, I should say. And then we're going to defeat a specific cocoon. So we got to place the cocoon down before we can set up that asset death quest. And once we kill this cocoon, or I keep saying cocoon, but it's a web. But once we defeat this web, we can have the quest autocomplete, or we can have like, oh, we got to talk to the princess first. So we can go ahead and do that. So we can set up that first message. So we'll do princess.1. And then, of course, much like with the wolf quest that unlocked the later quests, we could have action after the completion. So essentially, when we complete the quest, a message goes out across our entire game that could cause other things to happen. Let's just say there was a skeleton that was next to the king. He starts attacking the king. He gets aggressive because the princess is finally free. And so things like those can occur after your quest is completed. And that's all through the message system in the sandbox. Whoa. Okay, that's interesting. I've never gotten that error before. So because I didn't have an asset in this field, it wouldn't allow me to exit out. So let's go ahead and make our web. It does appear that our web to victim was not uploaded. Even though we exited out and in, sometimes you have to completely exit out. But for now, I'll just use one of the webs provided. I'm gonna use this one here. So this is a spider egg, but for now it's going to act as our quest because I don't want to restart it. It just takes too long. So instead, we're going to remove any behaviors. So this is just a static asset. But when we destroy the egg, we want that to spawn our princess. So what we can do is we can add a drop component. So the drop component, on death, we can have it drop a princess. So who's going to be our princess? Let's have Panda Pops. Panda's the princess. Why not? She's the first one I saw. So what we can do is we can have this princess have an interaction, and we're going to make a preset out of the princess. So it's a preset, says puns. Anybody? No? So by interacting with her, we're going to send out the princess.1 message. And we can associate that with several different things. I would probably recommend having an asker message on a separate asset. So that way, you can have the princess be like the catalyst. So when you talk to the princess, it sends out the message that your asker behavior, which can be a completely separate asset and customizable in that case. So for example, if we're making a preset out of this princess, that way we can save it and throw it away. Everything else we can edit directly. So we'll do asker behavior. We'll remove the health component. Hey, Infinite Wins, welcome. Thanks for the follow. So our princess here will say, good golly, you've saved me. I think I can find my way home. Hey, Cynthia, welcome. How's it going? If you say so. So that would cause the dialogue to end. And then lastly, we want the princess dialogue to be what triggers this asker behavior. So when we interact with her, sends out the princess message, we can say, wow, I was so scared. Princess Panda Pops. And so now that we have this character, let's go ahead and save her as a preset. We can open up the preset button here on the left side of the screen. It's this box with a plus. We'll do create new. Oh, is my camera okay? Slaterade, is everything okay? It says I lost my camera. I just want to make sure. Oh, it's good now? Thank you, Slaterade. I don't know what happened then. This will be Princess Panda. was a few minutes ago. Ooh. Well, hopefully it wasn't for long. So Princess Panda Pop's here. We've already saved the preset, so we can double check. We can see, yes, the preset was saved. And so now that we have that saved, we can look back at our drop component on our egg, and we can see that there is a type of drop, a preset. And now we can associate Princess Panda Pops with that. And we can even attach a sound if we wanted to. So we can do like objective complete. So we've saved her. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear it with the way our stream is set up with Sandstorm, but just know that you can add sound effects. And this will happen on the death. So we have to slash the egg a few times, and that will free our princess. So the last thing we need to do, which by the way, now that I've saved our preset, I can delete and off of our screen. If I ever need to edit her again, I can open up our preset from our inventory, dragging and dropping her onto the field, and we can see she keeps all of those same settings. If I want to adjust something, let's just say instead of saying I was so scared, I would say, I didn't need your help. Thank you. If we wanted to change something like that, now all we have to do is go back into the add preset button, select Princess Panda Pops again, and then just save over it. Of course, we can delete it when we're ready. We also had this asker behavior. We don't want the character to be able to interact with this, so we're going to hide the collisions and hide the visibility. But we can keep it nearby our asset, so we know, hey, this is, what Panda says once we talk to her. I highly recommend having your asker behaviors on invisible assets that are near your NPCs rather than on the NPCs themselves, because that allows for more customization. For example, I could have two different variations when you talk to Princess Panda Pops. For example, before you complete the quest and then after you complete the quest, she can say two different things. That would be using, and this is again a little bit more advanced, but that would be using a toggle behavior so that when we complete the quest, we can have it turn off. I'm not going to set that up for now, but after maybe we finish it, we can look through that. The last thing I needed to do before we could start and test our quest was I wanted to make a king. So guess what? Andy Ritchie is the king. This is the first guy I saw. So King Andy Ritchie, I should say. He's going to have an interaction quest. So interactive speaker that starts the quest. I can't find the princess. Will you help me, adventurer? Oh, and instead of saying adventurer, we could say player. So if you do less than sign, capital lock player, greater than sign, that will allow it to say halfd0rk for my specific case, but it will say whoever is playing the game, it will state their name, which is a new feature in the Game Maker. Excuse me. Roxy says, sometimes a message generated by a component, such as a speaker or a message on death with a health component, cannot be received by a behavior. Is this a rule or does it sometimes work? So a message generated by a component. Oh, I see what you're saying. Roxy, it's great you mentioned this. I actually encountered the exact same bug and I discovered why. So for example, the health component has a death delay, and no matter what the death delay is, so even if it was a 2-second death delay, if they are quote unquote dead, they will not be able to communicate at all. So sending a message in that duration, no matter if it's like 5-second, 10-second, whatever, like even if they are still quote unquote there, alive, but they had died, so they lost all their health points, they are unable to receive a message. So I can test that real quick for you, because this exact same thing happened to me. So let me put it in a spot. Sure, this will work. So what we'll do is we'll set up just for testing. I could speedrun this, no problem. Cat here, when we get close to it, it's going to say a message. There is no life after death. Roxy making it philosophical here. For example, it's going to detect the player when we get within this blue radius. And we're going to remove the predator behavior so it doesn't, chase us. So when we get close to this cat, it's going to state meow. But if, for example, I talk to this sign, it's going to, kill the cat. So this is going to be kill.cat is the message we're going to set up. So we can do in the speaker component kill.cat. But I think, Roxy, you already know what I'm doing, and I just want to walk through it for if anybody who's curious. It's curiosity killed the cat. So we can see the message that kills our cat is kill.cat, which was attached to this sign. So we can test this real quick. We can see if I walk up to the cat, it says meow. You can even test it a second time once that goes away, 5 seconds. Meow, second time. But now, if the cat is dead and I walk up to it, we'll notice that the cat is kind of like locked in limbo and the message no longer communicates. So the cat's still there, but the message is no longer being able to be received because the cat is quote unquote dead. So even though the cat was there, the message is not associated and thus is not working. That's also part of the reason why I highly recommend adding kind of like logic assets to your game, such as how we set up with Panda Pops and having that separate asker behavior. I hope that helped you, Roxy. So back to our quest at hand. When we talk to the king, we're sending out king.one message. Of course, we can attach this to an asker behavior, but for now, basically talking to the king is going to trigger our quest. And we can go ahead and walk through this, make sure it's working. We'll hit play. And so talking to Andy triggers the quest. And we can see he even said my name. Wow, I feel so special. So, web princess. A princess was taken captive by spiders. Will you rescue her? So we have to break open this egg. We see a panda spawned. So Panda Pop says, I didn't need your help, but thank you. Good golly, you saved me. I think I can find my way home, if you say so. And so right now, our quest is not automatically completing. So we need to take a look at why. So when we talk to the princess, we have this sign that we set up with our asker behavior. We can see here that I did not save our princess.one. And one thing I'll recommend here is even though I typed in princess.one, sometimes that doesn't save. So we're going to double check and we can see it did not save. So I might have done it before. And if this ever occurs to you, because trust me, it will, if you're making games in the Game Maker, bugs happen. You need to type it and then use the orange version. So for example, if I was just quick typing and I'm like, oh, okay, the dropdown already has princess.one. Sometimes this works. I don't really know when, like how to recreate this bug, but when it happens, you'll know. So when it happens, you basically have to type out the full thing and use the orange version. So now, if I were to walk through it, we start the quest. Panda says, oh, you found me. And it looks like I'm still missing something, probably in our quest completion. Oh yes, our asset death. So we do still need to set up to where we chose the cocoon, the spider egg in this case. So once the spider egg is defeated, we're able to talk to the princess, thus completing the game. Or I should say completing the quest. There we go. So a couple things. I can make Panda Pops here turn to face us so we can see she's facing the wrong way. Then I can also add indicators, so these little icons that appear above all of our quests. So for example, we can add an indicator to our egg here, linking the quest ID, and then having the objective marker above it. So that would put this orange kind of marker above it. And with our king, I can have an indicator doing the same method, having the webbed princess quest. We can have the giver indicator above him. And then finally, with our Panda Pops, we wanted to do two things. And we'll resave her preset. And because the preset is already plugged into our drop component, all we have to do is save the preset, and it's already overwritten. So it won't be a problem. So with Panda Pops here, what we'll do is we'll edit logic, and we can have her look at the player when we interact with her. And we'll add the indicator, doing the same thing as the egg and the king, and have receiver. So she'll have a big yellow question mark above her head. And we just want to make sure the linked quest ID is also associated. Finally, we can save that preset by going to the blue box on the left side. We'll click Princess Panda Pops and write over that same wording. There we go. Finally, I can delete her from the scene because she's a preset now. She's saved. Aloha, what's up, Brock? Hey, Laura, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Cool. So as we load in, we can see King Andy Ritchie here. He doesn't have a health component, so I can't kill him on accident, which is very good for your NPCs. That can technically break your game if you have NPCs with quests. And so we can see that when I accepted the quest, an orange marker appeared over our egg. And if I go to the egg and destroy it, spawned Princess Panda Pops. The only thing that Princess Panda Pops does not have is the marker above her head. So we can take a look at that, but we can see it still completed the quest. The reason why it didn't have the quest marker is because our message is associated with this sign, I believe. So interestingly enough, I do want to test that. So let's put our preset back on the field. We can see here in the webbed princess section that the quest completion requires message princess.1. So in the indicator, we can take a look, and we can see webbed princess is the quest cursor. This might actually be a preset bug, so I'm very curious now. So this is in fact a preset bug. So our preset works as intended. However, the indicator on the preset does not, because we did save it. So she should turn to face us, yes. So that's a bug, unfortunate. That's the way the cookie crumbles. At least we had the indicator above Princess Panda Pops. One thing we can do is we can add an indicator to our sign, as we mentioned. So this is kind of to navigate that bug we just found. And trust me when I say bugs make me pull my hair out. And I don't have a lot of hair left. But we can go indicator. And we'll do the webbed princess for this sign now. And so this will have the same effect to where we have to talk to the princess in order for it to even appear in the first place. And first of all, we have to destroy the egg as we set up in our quest rules. So there is just to walk through the quest one more time, this quest automatically is unlocked. So for example, you could have a quest beforehand that had to be completed before you could talk to the king. But the quest itself launches when we talk to the king. Now that we have the quest, when we destroy the spider egg, that allows us to talk to the princess. So the princess, we can never get this message without first talking to her. And then finally, that'll end the quest. So in theory, this sign won't have, a marker above it until we defeat the egg. So let's see what happens. So now we can use that sign basically as a placeholder for Princess Panda Pops. Cool. Watch the bugs. Love the key map visualizer. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Brock. So our indicators these days have a display name, and it seems to always add something. I'm curious if like the space button. Okay, cool. That'll hide it. But I had to add a space in the name here so it didn't say signed, because that's a little bit misleading to say the least. I also don't like the arrow. So we had an arrow on this. So it's on the indicator component. So we can hide the arrow just so we don't see it. And then finally, with this little section here that we started on, I wanted to add a chest mechanic. So what we can do is we can have this chest open. And so we interact with the chest. It's going to play the open animation, and the closing animation is basically the one time it's closed. We don't want it to open and close. Instead, we want it to open once and then remain open. So how can we set that up? Well, we can destroy it. That's probably the best option, is when we open it, it destroys itself. But we can also toggle it. So we'll do a toggle behavior here. And we're going to set up a spawner. So we're going to spawn some loot that comes out of it. So again, I'll use one of these signs here. The sign itself will be non-collidable and invisible, but nearby so I can edit it. And this is going to be an asset spawner. So what will happen is when we open up the chest, it's going to spawn whatever we put inside of this asset spawner directly on top of us. So what we'll do is we'll add some armor. So I've made iron helmet. So the message required is going to be chest open. And we need to ensure that this has a collectible component. Oh, one second. Dogs are going crazy. Sorry about that. Oh, interacting with this chest. When we open it, we're going to do chest.open. And so once it opens, it's going to spawn our asset. And then finally, what we can do is we can have, when we collect our asset, to send out a new message destroying the chest or disabling it. And so this is going to use another preset. So by default, our chest has been initially on, but we want it to turn off. So chest.collect. That's going to be the message we set up with a new preset. So essentially everything I attach to this asset spawner, we're going to make a preset out of. So I'll find our iron visor. And I'm going to give it the collectible component that when we collide with it, it's now going to send out that message. So chest.collect, which we saw turns off the chest, causing us to not open it again. Everything else looks good. So we'll use preset, and then we'll set up this preset real quick. So we'll do iron visor is the name of the asset. We'll create the preset. So again, the left side of the screen, the blue square, iron visor. You can now delete that iron visor and go back to our sign, which is spawning the asset, and we'll select the iron visor. Great. So let's go ahead and give this a try. So, it looks like our chest was already opened. But we can see it at least turned off the chest, so I can't open and close it. So that means one of these animations is wrong. So we can see by default, the starting state of our chest is closed. And this is a relatively new chest as well. Unfortunate, but a lot of the default sandbox assets have like the wrong idle animation. Some of them even have like completely wrong like names for animations. So we're just going to take a look at close and closed. This one, closing, it looks like. This one's closed. So we're going to use the closed one, but it's not completely closed. That's so odd. We're going to use this one. So close 01. Great. So now our chest is closed. When I open it, it spawns the iron visor. And when I picked up the iron visor, it sent out a message preventing me from like interacting with the chest any more times. So just to walk through that mechanic one more time, we have a chest with the door behavior that has animations on it. The animations are triggered by the interact message. The two animations are open 01 and close 01. It starts closed. When it opens, so when we interact with it, it sends out the chest.open message. The chest.open message is connected to this sign that's invisible and non-collidable. It has an asset spawner. So this asset spawner receives chest.open and it spawns the preset we made. So to walk through the preset, our preset, when it spawns, is very simple. It's all it is a collectible component because it's equipment. We collide with it and it sends out chest.collect, that message. And lastly, chest.collect is received by our chest, turning the behavior off, so we cannot open it more than once. Even so, what we can do is provide a way to prevent our asset spawner from spawning more than one asset. We can have the delay set to max, so it only spawns one asset in that time frame. Our chest, we open the visor, we can no longer interact with the chest. Cool. So I hope everybody's having a nice day. We're streaming for another 10 or so minutes. But I wanted to walk through these basics as we work on our Ragnarok game jam. And so, one of the things I really wanted to show off today was something I worked on my own streams, was ghosts. We found out a really cool way to make ghosts. Thanks, Brock. So these ghosts here have a very complex mechanic behind them, and we got it working by the end of the week. But long story short, they will attack you and they are immortal. So we can see here it has behavior melee enemy. It has a speaker component where he's just detecting the avatar and says, "Hello, I'm a ghost." And so let me just walk through what this does. So we can see I cannot kill this ghost. What we'll have to do is we'll have like a quest associated with a priest that we might start on today. That the priest will kind of sanctify our weapons and give us the ability to defeat the ghosts. So this character here represents that. So we'll have a quest associated with that. And so now all of the ghosts are going to have a heart. We can see that inside of them. And so that heart is currently connected to the ghost. So it's a translucent avatar, which I'll show you how we did that. But now I can attack the heart and it will defeat the ghost. So with our ghost here, let's take a quick look at the hierarchy. So we have an anchor. So this allows, oh yeah, this is complicated, but I'll walk through it best I can. So our anchor here has a heart message that will kill the ghost. So the ghost will only die after our heart has been killed. And furthermore, the hearts die twice. So the first time the heart dies is when we talked to this character. That caused the heart to spawn inside of our ghost. Also, when that heart died the first time, it toggled the behavior of certain things, such as being able to kill the ghost in the first place. We can also see that a lot of my components basically tell assets that, hey, once the ghost is killed, we can kill all of these remaining assets. So everything's kind of connected in a way. So again, if I am to interact with the ghost, I can't kill him. If I spawn the heart, by killing the heart, it enables me to kill all of these remaining assets. So a little bit complicated, but I was very glad to have made that mechanic, and I look forward to using it in my game. We're going to have some skeletons at the top of our mountain here. And we're also going to have a Lich Lord. But that character I haven't quite exported yet. Let's see, what else could we do? Cool, fine. Thanks, Brock. If anything, that was something I don't think we could have done in previous versions. And this is kind of like a bug that I'm turning into a feature. So now that we have our king quest, and that was just an example, what we can do is we can have a quest for killing some spiders. I just want to demonstrate some of the simpler stuff. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. These were for testing. Using that same mechanic, by the way, with the ghost, I was able to make invisible kind of icicles. So what these are essentially just stalactites and stalagmites that I turned translucent, and they are attached to a parent, much like the ghost had that heart and that lamp that told it what to do. So it's the same thing where this lamp says, hey, all of my children are visible. So we can see here, I have an icicle anchor. So if I were to search icicle, the children of which are currently toggled to be invisible. So it allows this unique interaction where the parent asset, this anchor, tells its children that, hey, you're supposed to be visible, but the children are already toggled to be invisible. So that allows me to see, as the player, these translucent objects. So we're going to next set up a kill quest for some spiders. Just some simple stuff, because I think this will help some of you new game developers out there. So the first thing we'll do is we'll decide which of our quests is the spider quest. and I already started on it. So we have a spider quest. We'll say, call the spider population. Oh, but unfortunately, you're only limited to a couple characters, so I couldn't put population. The spiders are reproducing. I can't spell. Reproducing too fast. Please go kill 3 of the large. We'll use a color here. Color equals yellow spiders. Close the color bracket. And so this quest required us to first talk to the NPC by the gate. And then we also wanted to start the quest with a Q1.2. So I associated this for my own reference. So basically, this is our first series of quests. And this is the second of 3. And so we're looking for tagged spiders, and we're going to kill 3 of them. For each one of these spiders, we're going to go ahead and give that spider tag. And then we want an NPC near this section here. We'll use a Viking. Barbarian. Yeah, there we go. This barbarian here, unfortunately, did not want to spawn the right way up, but we got him working. So when we talk to him, he will start the quest. I need help with them spiders. And we have the Q1.2 that starts the quest. The last thing that we needed was we had to talk to this character first, so I'll just put her nearby. Great. Oh. Well, I think she had an interaction on her. Protect entity avatar. Help the village. So it's not starting the quest, which I think I had the quest starters on separate assets. And they don't look to be available at the moment. Instead, when she sees us, start the quest. Looks like it didn't save. So Q1.1, we're going to double check, make sure help the village quest. Q1.start is what we're looking for. Oh, thank you everybody for watching. We're going to be wrapping up pretty soon here. Bjorn mentions that it's been almost 1 month since the Builders Contest. And so they are going to be doing a results show, doing 2 at once. Did you participate, Bjorn? So right now, we now have our Barbarian Chief here, who is supposed to give us a quest. So let's see why he's not giving us a quest. Interact with him, sending out this message, Q1.2. Which it does appear that I have way too many messages that I didn't associate with anything. At least now I'm able to read them. Now we can see, now that I've associated the correct messages, my quests interact. Always double check for typos as well as message communication. It'll go a long way. So our spider's here. You can see once I kill them, I should get quest credit. Boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, I am a hero. I'm the best. So, yeah, as for questions, keep them coming. If you have any more, you can drop them in our SandStorm Discord. If anything, you'll be able to find me on my own personal streams, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch me in the Game Show live streams. Usually I'm hanging out. But yeah, overall, like I want to help the community make some cool games. So if you ever have questions, feel free to, send me a DM here on Twitch or, tag me in chat. I don't really have anything else to show you, in the time allotted. Started setting up a little bit of like a cave system. Maybe we'll just do a little bit of terraforming. Terraforming is kind of like the best place to start whenever you're making a game. It's essentially taking the building blocks, much like Minecraft, and you can freeform. So that would mean doing like one block at a time. Sadly, Game Maker is currently crashed. You can see my cursor here. So it looks like Game Maker just doesn't want to cooperate right now. I can't really paint. That's awkward. Well, I think this is a good time to end it then. So thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it, Brock. That's very kind of you. All right, we're going to be throwing up the ending screen. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see if there's anybody worth raiding, which, of course, there is. Let me find if there are any English speakers live. Oh, Rock is back? Cool. Rock Bartholomew, thank you very much. Roxy Miguel, thank you for the stream. Thanks for watching. Vox, Sandbox is live. Ooh, we should definitely head to Sandbox. We would raid Rock808, but he is not currently doing Sandbox content. So we're going to head over to the Sandbox game. They're doing, some alpha stream. So they're going to be playing some alpha games, it looks like. So yeah, we'll just send a raid their way. Oh, Pickaxe is still live. That's awesome. Well, it's cool that Joe is currently live this early in the afternoon. All right, everybody. Have yourself a nice day. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate you. Make sure you follow the SandStorm Meetup on whatever social media if you haven't already. See ya. Bye.